want to say peace to everybody online. I'm trying to open up this iPad here, so y'all got to bear with your boy. Okay, hopefully that works. Pardon me. So no O's, just zeros. Oh, okay. Thank you. All right, so look. I'm not too used to technology and stuff. I had a little technical difficulties today, so I'm digital and not analog on paper. That being said, today's lesson is called Modify Your Behavior or Die. We're dealing with part 2. Now, what I need y'all to do is take a look at your lesson plan. This is your guide, okay? When you see warning, I'm going to a proverb or something that illustrates the transgression. When you see that, you're going to have a marker where you're at. Flip there real quick so you can flip back. That's the only instruction that I got. And I'm not too much into flapping, so let's get into this lesson and make it happen. We start in Exodus 20. We already went through 1 through 5, so now we're going to go 6 through 10. And the sixth commandment is, thou shalt not kill. Now, there's a difference between killing and murdering. We're dealing with murder. Because we know David, he went to war, and in war you kill people. It's a difference between a justified shooting, like in the world, if you're a police officer, it's a difference between a justified shooting and a shooting that is not justified. So we're talking about murdering or spilling innocent blood. Without further ado, Exodus 20, my brother. Verse 13. When you get there, go ahead.
Thou shalt not kill.
Plain and simple. Thou shalt not kill. Now, let's go to 2 Kings. We're going to see an example of a wicked king. He was the southern king of Judah. His name was Manasseh, okay? Manasseh was Hezekiah's son. Hezekiah was a good king. So I don't know where Manasseh learned what he learned, but according to the book, he was a stone fool. So let's go to 2 Kings 21. And we're going to start reading in verse 1. And we're going to skip around. See, what I did with this lesson was I took different segments of the transgression that we're focusing on so we can just deal with that. There's a myriad of transgressions that was happening within this story in these examples that I used, but we're just focusing on specifics, okay? All right, 2 Kings 21, start at verse 1, please. When you get there, brother, go ahead.
Manasseh was 12 years old when he began to reign, and reigned 55 years in Jerusalem. And his mother's name was Hephzibah.
There you go. Come on, brother.
And he did that which was evil in the sight of the Lord, after the abominations of the heathen, whom the Lord cast out before the children of Israel.
Stop. Now, speaking of the heathen, remember when the children of Israel came into the land, the Most High said, look, I want you to clean everybody's clock, so to speak. I want you to, men, women, kids, everybody, do not leave them because they're going to be a thorn in your side because you're going to go after their gods. Of course, they didn't do that. But let's skip down to verse 6, and let's see what the example of thou shalt not kill. And we're going to get the definition of thou shalt not kill so we can provide clarity. Verse 6, please.
And he made his sons pass through the fire and observed times and used enchantments and dealt with familiar spirits.
So he was
wizards.
a stone fool. A stone fool. Go ahead, brother.
He wrought much wickedness in the sight of the Lord to provoke him to anger.
Skip down to verse 16. Come on.
Moreover, Manasseh shed innocent blood very much, till he filled Jerusalem from one end to another.
Stop. It says he spilled innocent blood. He shed innocent blood. Innocent blood, that is murder. He made his sons and his daughters to pass through the fire. That's child sacrifice. That's worshiping Baal or Molech. Okay, now let's see what happens when the king is bad. The people follow the examples of the king. Keep reading, brother.
Beside his sin wherewith the made Judah to sin, in doing that which was evil in the sight of the Lord.
Now, we got a warning. So remember, keep your finger there because we're going to go right back to 2 Kings. Turn over to Proverbs 6. Proverbs 6. And we're going to get the warning. Because it says, thou shalt not kill. So if it's a difference between, for instance, you in your house, somebody breaks into your house and they're trying to do you and your family harm. Well, the Lord don't just want you to stand there and watch your kids and your wife get messed up. You know, you have the option, if you choose to, if you're a smart person, to cock that thing and lay them down and call the police. That is justified. But if you get into an argument at a pool hall with somebody over something and you wind up jumping them and doing something terrible to him and the result is his death, you have transgressed the law. So Proverbs 6, verse 16, please, brother.
These 6 things doth the Lord hate.
6 things, come on.
Yea, 7 are an abomination unto him.
7 is the perfect number of God. We're not going to deal with all of them. What we're going to deal with is the specifics of thou shalt not kill. Go to verse 17, please.
A proud look,
Come on.
a lying tongue, and hands that shed innocent blood.
All right, so we know that Manasseh, he shed innocent blood and filled Jerusalem with blood. Now let's see what happened. This is the Lord giving a commentary on the children of Israel. Let's go to Psalms 106 real quick. Psalms 106, we're going to read verse 37 and 38. This is how the Lord feels about shedding innocent blood. And when you get there, brother, go ahead.
Yea, they sacrifice their sons and their daughters unto devils, and shed innocent blood.
Come on.
Even the blood of their sons and of their daughters, whom they sacrificed unto idols of Canaan. And the land was polluted with blood.
So the land was filled with blood from one end of Jerusalem to the other. And as a result, we're going to see what the Lord did to the southern kingdom. He had already taken out the northern kingdom because they didn't listen to Jeremiah. They didn't listen to all the prophets. So we're going to see the end result. So let's go back to 2 Kings. We're going to 2 Kings 24. And we're going to see the result. And we're going to see the reason why. See, the Bible is very clear. There is no ambiguity in this book. You know what time it is. All you got to do is just read it. 2 Kings 24. Give me 1 through 4, please.
In his days, Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, came up, and Jehoiakim became his servants 3 years. Then he turned and rebelled against him.
Which wasn't in his best interest, but go ahead.
And the Lord sent against him bands of the Chaldees, and bands of the Syrians, and bands of the Moabites, and bands of the children of Ammon.
And we ain't talking about people playing music. We talking about battalions. Come on, brother.
And sent them against Judah to destroy it.
Wait, he sent them to Judah to do what?
To destroy it.
To give him a handshake?
No, to destroy it,
Come
brother.
on.
To destroy it according to the word of the Lord, which he spake by his servants, the prophets.
See, God always gives you a warning. If you don't listen to the warning, he ain't got nothing for you. Verse 3.
Surely, at the commandment of the Lord came this upon Judah, to remove them out of the sight for the sins of Manasseh according...
Whoa. For the sins of who?
Manasseh.
You mean the dude that shed innocent blood? You mean the dude that actually made his sons and daughters pass through the fire? Then Jerusalem started actually emulating the king. And that's why he sent these bands against them to kill him. Very plain and simple. Finish reading, brother.
According to all that he did.
Come on.
And also for the innocent blood that he shed, for he filled Jerusalem with innocent blood,
Pay
which
attention.
the Lord...
Pay attention to this. Come on.
Which the Lord will not pardon.
The Lord will not pardon shedding of innocent blood. If you kill, you will die. Exodus 20. We're dealing with the 7th commandment now. This is not a game. Please understand this. I'm not trying to scare y'all. I'm just trying to have this brother read and break it down. You do what you want to do. It's up to you to save yourself. Now, this is for married people. This is for married people. Understand this. Exodus 20, one verse 14. Go ahead, bro.
Thou shalt not commit adultery.
Plain and simple. Now, while I was putting this lesson together, okay, yeah, I could have gone with the David and the Bathsheba, but that's too easy to do. So what I did was I got something else for y'all. I got a treat for y'all. Go to 1 Samuel. 1 Samuel 2. Now, it's a 2-for-1 in here. We're going to see a whole lot of transgressions take place, but again, I'm being very tactical in selecting exactly the verses that focus on thou shalt not commit adultery, period. So we're going to 1 Samuel 2, and we're going to do verse 12, and then we're going to dance with the stars. That means skip around. We're dealing with Eli and his sons. Now, let me give you a little backstory. Eli was a priest. He was a high priest. This is during the judges' time, so there was no king in Israel, and everybody did what was right in their own eyes. Have mercy on us, right? So anyway, They have a law in the, there's a law that's if your kids are a darn fool, of course, that's in either Deuteronomy or Numbers, one of them, you can actually take your kids to the elders of the village or the town, and you can have a trial against them, bear witness against them, and if they're found to be wicked, you can stone them. You can kill them if they are disobedient and insane. Now, this is what Eli should have done, but Eli did not do this. 1 Samuel, verse 12. Come on.
Now the sons of Eli were of Belial. They were not of the Lord.
Pure and simple. Skip down to verse 22. Come on.
Now Eli was very old and heard all of this his son did unto all Israel.
Stop. He heard all the stuff they were doing. Not only were they committing adultery, but what happens is this. Since Eli was a high priest and his sons were the high priest, they were in charge of the sacrifice to the Lord. Okay, so what happens is when people bring their sacrifice, they oxen, they bulls, they rams, whatever, they boil the meat and they're supposed to give the good portion to the Lord. They're supposed to wait till the animals actually sacrifice, then select the good meats, give that to the Lord, and the priest had the rest. What these cats was doing, they was just bogus. They was just gangstering the meat. Like somebody would bring it in, while the meat was in the pot, they would put the flesh hook in, which was made out of gold, if I'm not mistaken, either gold or brass. They would pull it out, and everything else that was left over, that's for God. So they were defaming, or should I say, desecrating the sacrifice of the Lord. And that is very essential because that's the atonement of your sins. In addition to doing that, they was also doing this. Start at verse 22 again, bro.
Now Eli was very old and heard all that his sons did unto all Israel, and how they lay with the women that assembled at the door of the tabernacle of the congregation.
Stop. So this is also bogus. So say, for instance, you and your wife bring a sacrifice to atone for something, right? Eli's sons is going to catch your wife slipping and just try to weasel up in there. Next thing you know, they laying with your wife. So they're laying with the women that came to bring a sacrifice to God. Bogus. Verse 23, bro.
And he said unto them, Why do ye such things? For I hear of your evil dealings by all this people.
Come on.
Nay, my sons, for it is no good report that I hear. Ye make the Lord's people to transgress.
Come on.
If one man sin against another, the judge shall judge him. But if a man sin against the Lord, who shall entreat for him? Notwithstanding, they hearken not unto the voice of their father, because the Lord would slay them.
They were so bogus, the Lord had their number. It was a wrap. Let's get a warning. Public service announcement. Please go to Proverbs 6. Now, mind you, Proverbs didn't exist when Eli and everybody was living, because this was written by Solomon, a couple hundred years later on. But it's in the law. You should not commit adultery. Them being high priests, they should have known that. Proverbs 6, one verse, very tactical, verse 29.
So he that goeth.
Hold up, bro.
I'm sorry.
I know, right?
You should tell you trying to hit me up. I'm ready.
Go ahead, bro. You got it.
So he that goeth into his neighbor's wife, whosoever touches her shall be an innocent.
Shall not
be an innocent.
So if you go on your neighbor's wife, you touch your neighbor's wife, you shall not be innocent. That's why they hearken not unto their father, because the Lord would slay them. Now, here's the problem. The problem is this. When the Lord's got your number, there's collateral damage. So we're going to deal with that too. Let's go back to 1 Samuel 2. And we're going to read 2 verses. Verse 27. Because this is how merciful the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob is. He sent another prophet to Samuel to warn him and tell him, you need to check your sons. 1 Samuel 2, verse 27. Go ahead, bro.
And there came a man of God unto Eli, and said unto him, Thus saith the Lord, Did I plainly appear unto the house of thy father when they were in Egypt in Pharaoh's house?
Skip down to verse 34. Wait, hold up, stop. So he's saying I'm just showing you that this prophet is speaking by the mouth of God. Now, he gave him a prophecy dealing with what he was going to do to his household, but we're not dealing with all that. All we're going to deal with is his sons. The reason why he was doing this to his household. Skip down to verse 34, please. Go ahead.
And this shall be a sign unto thee, that shall come upon 2 sons on Hophni, Hophni and Phinehas. Phineas.
Come on.
And one day they shall die, both of them.
One day, both your sons are going to die. Now, that was a warning. Okay, he warned them. All right, so now let's go down to 1 Samuel 3, chapter 3. Go right into that. Because he warned them by the mouth of another prophet, and now he came to Samuel and warned him from Samuel. Now, what I want y'all to pay attention is his response after little Samuel warned him. 1 Samuel chapter 3, verse 10. Come on.
And the Lord came and stood and called as other times, Samuel, Samuel. Then Samuel answered, Speak, for thy servant heareth.
Now, I want y'all to pay attention to the fact that the Lord is there himself. It says the Lord came and stood. Yeah, this is serious business. Adultery ain't no game. All right, go ahead, bro.
And the Lord said to Samuel, Behold, I will do a thing in Israel, at which both the ears of every one that heareth it shall tingle.
Come on.
In that day I will perform against Eli all things which I have spoken concerning his house. When I begin, I will also make an end.
Stop. Remember that other servant, that other prophet that came to Samuel? He told him all this stuff. Okay? Keep going, bro.
For I have told him that I will judge his house forever for the iniquity which he kneweth.
Stop. For the iniquity which he knoweth. He knew what his sons was doing, but yet he didn't do anything. Go ahead, bro.
Because his sons made themselves vile and restrained them not. He restrained them not.
His sons made themselves vile, and he didn't do anything about it. He should have taken them out of the priestly duty and had them executed, not excommunicated, executed. Verse 14.
And therefore I have sworn unto the house of Eli that the iniquity of Eli's house shall not be purged with sacrifice nor offering forever.
There was no remedy for all the transgressions that his sons had done, and the fact that he had been a partaker or he had been complicit in those transgressions. Skip down to verse 18, please. Go ahead, bro.
And Samuel told him every whit and hid nothing from him.
Stop. Let me back up. What happened was this. In the morning after the Lord came to Samuel and told him what was happening, Eli came to Samuel and said, Tell me everything that the Lord told you and don't hold nothing back from me. Pay attention to his response. Go ahead, bro.
And he said, It is the Lord. Let him do what seemeth good.
So he didn't rend his clothes. He didn't rend his clothes. He didn't put sackcloth and ashes on his head. He didn't have a fast. He didn't cry out to God. Hezekiah did, and guess what? Got 15 more years. So the brother should have been humble. He should have stopped, and he should have repented, stopped, cried out to the Most High God, and put in work against his sons. But he didn't do it. Verse 19.
And Samuel grew, and the Lord was with him, and did let none of his words fall to the ground.
See, Samuel was a rider. He did what God said. Now let's go into chapter 4. Right into 1 Samuel chapter 4. Now let's watch how he takes out his sons, and let's see the collateral damage. In the military, collateral damage are civilians that get killed alongside the, what do they call them? The enemy combatants, the troops that you're trying to go against the enemy. Let's watch the collateral damage right here. 1 Samuel chapter 4, start reading in verse 1, brother. Go ahead.
And the word of Samuel came to all Israel. Now Israel went out against the Philistines to battle, and pitched besides Ebenezer, and the Philistines pitched in Aphek.
Come on.
And the Philistines put themselves in array against Israel, and when they joined battle, Israel was smitten before the Philistines, and they slew of the army in the field about 4,000 men.
So already off the rip, we got 4,000 of the children of Israel getting killed. This is all in an effort for the Lord to slay the sons of Eli. So we got 4,000 dudes that got killed that didn't have anything to do with the transgression. Collateral damage. Skip down to verse 4. Come on.
So the people sent to Shiloh, that they might bring from thence the ark of the covenant of the Lord of hosts, which dwelleth between the cherubims, and the two sons of Eli, Hophni and Phinehas, were there with the ark of the covenant of God.
Stop. Let me give you a little background on this. So what happens is this. When the children of Israel will go out against different people, you know, if the battle was going to go well, they would bring the Ark of the Covenant on the battlefield, because the Ark of the Covenant represented the presence of the Lord on the battlefield with them. And typically when it was on the battlefield, it was a wrap. They would wipe out everybody. They would put them to the sword. So what happens is, because 4,000 men of the children of Israel died, the only way to get Phinehas and Hophni on the battlefield was what? To get the Ark on the battlefield. Now let's watch what happens. Skip down to verse 10. And I hope I ain't going too fast for y'all, but I'm just kind of moving through this. You dig? Go ahead, bruh.
And the Philistines fought, and Israel was smitten, and they fled every man into his tent. And there was a very great slaughter, for there fell of Israel 30,000 footmen.
So now we got 34,000 people dead, all behind trying to get Phinehas and Hophni for their transgressions that Eli should have stopped. So if Eli had to stop them, slayed them, we wouldn't have 34,000 people dead right now. Do not commit adultery. It's a very dangerous thing. Sinning against the Most High God will get you killed. Understand that. Verse 12, come on.
12 or 11.
11, oh, I'm sorry, 11. Go
And
ahead.
the ark of God was taken, and 2 sons of Eli, Hophni and Phinehas, were slain.
Come on.
And there ran a man of Benjamin out of the army, and came to Shiloh the same day with his clothes rent, and with earth upon his head.
Stop. So he saw this great slaughter. He saw the ark of his God get carried off by some uncircumcised, heathens, so to speak. So he runs to go tell everybody what happened, because this is shameful. Skip down to verse 17. He goes in there and he tells Eli what happened. Go ahead, bruh.
And the messenger answered and said, Israel is fled before the Philistines, and there hath been also a great slaughter among the people. And thy 2 sons also, Hophni and Phinehas, are dead, and the ark of God is taken. And it came to pass, when he made mention of the ark of God, that he fell from off the seat backward by the side of the gate, and his neck brake, and he died, for he was an old man and heavy, and he had judged Israel 40 years.
Come on. Watch who else dies. Go ahead.
And his daughter-in-law, Phinehas' wife, was with child,
Come on.
near to be delivered. And when she heard the tidings that the ark of God was taken, and that her father-in-law and her husband were dead, she bowed herself and travailed. For her pains came upon her.
Stop. So what happened is this. My man Eli, he falls backwards and breaks his neck because he heard the ark is gone. Subsequently, Phinehas' wife, she hears what happened. She's like, and she was near to be delivered. But guess what? The stress, the pain, the fear, whatever, she goes into early childbirth. Now, verse 20. Watch this.
And about the time of her death,
Stop. About the time of what?
her death,
So she died too as a result of the transgression, which was, thou shalt not commit adultery. Come on, bruh.
the woman that stood by her said unto her, Fear not, for thou hast borne a son. But she answered not, neither did she regard it.
Stop. Childbirth is one of the happiest times of a woman's life, but guess what? You've born a son. That was her response. Come on, bruh.
And she named the child Ichabod, saying, The glory is departed from Israel, because the ark of God was taken, and because of her father-in-law and her husband.
So let's tally up the dead, all behind these 2 clowns. 34,004 people. God does not play. Do not commit adultery. You will die. Let's go back to Exodus. We're dealing with the 8th commandment now. Exodus 20. We're going to start at we're going to read one verse, verse 15. Come on, bruh.
Thou shalt not steal.
Plain and simple, right? Somebody need to go to Washington and tell all the politicians that one, huh? Leviticus 19. Let's get it again. First 5 books of Moses, right? Exodus, Leviticus, that's in the Torah, right? Yeah. Leviticus 19. One verse. Very tactical. Because the problem is this. When you break God's laws, you ain't got nothing coming to you but death. If you repent and you stop, then you have life. The good news is, y'all, you don't have to die twice. You don't. It's up to you. Go ahead and read, brother. Leviticus 19, 1 verse. Come on.
Ye shall not steal, neither deal falsely, neither lie one to another.
They need to take that to Washington for real. You shall not steal, you shall not deal falsely, and you shall not lie one to another. Okay. It seems like all of those components kind of fit in with the lie. In other words, there's like a domino effect. Now let's go to 2 Samuel. We're going to deal with a parable that deals with something that's dealing specifically with stealing, But the interesting part about this parable, it was given to this brother for a different reason, although he did steal. And we're going to see how the brother reacted. Now, everybody knows about David and Bathsheba and Uriah the Hittite. And if you guys don't know about that story, you need to go ahead and read in 2 Samuel and you'll figure that thing out. But anyway, what happened was this. Nathan the prophet came to David once he found out about Bathsheba and what he did, because the Lord sent him. And he gave him a parable about a little lamb and a rich man and a poor man. The rich man being David, the poor man being Uriah the Hittite, and the lamb being Bathsheba. But watch David's response to this parable when he found out that this brother stole. Watch what he says. Now, mind you, David was a writer. He spilled so much blood that the Lord would not let him build the temple of God. So when you got a writer saying something like what he's about to say, you know this is gospel. 2 Samuel chapter 12, 1 through 4. Go ahead, bruh.
And the Lord sent Nathan unto David, and he came unto him, and he said unto him,
Come on.
There were two men in one city, the one rich and the other poor. The rich man had exceedingly many flocks and herds, but the poor man had nothing.
Stop. The rich man had concubines and a lot of wives. The poor man had one wife, Bathsheba. Go ahead, bruh.
But the poor man had nothing, save one little ewe lamb, which he had bought and nourished up, and it grew up together with him and his children. It did eat of his own meat and drank of his own cup, and lay in his bosom, and was unto him as a daughter.
Now, this lamb to this poor man is like a daughter. It's like a member of the family. This is not like a regular member, a regular piece of herd. This is not that situation. This man loves this lamb. Go ahead, bruh.
And there came a traveler unto the rich man, and he spared to take of his own flock and of his own herd, to dress for wayfaring man that was come unto him, but took the poor man's lamb and dressed it for the man that was come to him.
Now, let's have a public service announcement real quick before we get to the crux of the matter. This is indeed a warning. Let's go to Ephesians real quick. Ephesians 4. Remember, keep your fingers up in there because we're going right back. Hope y'all get used to the pattern. What I'm giving you guys is the transgression. I'm giving you the example of the transgression. And before judgment is cast, I'm giving you the warning. Then we're going to go back and we're going to see how it ends. Ephesians 4, one verse 28. Go ahead, bruh.
Let him that stole steal no more, but rather let him labor, working with his hands the thing which is good, that he may have to give to him that needeth.
In other words, if you was a thief, don't be a thief. Go get a job. And when you get your money, bless the Lord, thank the Lord, and give to those who need, if you have an abundance to do. Now let's get back to David's response about this lamb story. So let's go back to 2 Samuel 12, and we're going to read 2 verses. And pay attention to what David says. It's vicious. 2 Samuel 12, 2 verses, 5 and 6. Go ahead, bruh.
And David's anger was greatly kindled against the man. And he said to Nathan, As the Lord liveth, the man that hath done this thing shall surely die.
Wait a minute, what now?
Shall surely die.
He's going to kill him. Oh, okay. And what else? Go ahead.
And he shall restore the land fourfold, because he did this thing, and because he had no pity.
See, when you steal, you have no pity. Okay? You, like David said, this man has done this thing. First, let's take 4 lambs and give it to this brother, and then let's kill him. Don't steal, else you'll die. Plain and simple. Let's go back to Exodus. Now we're dealing with the 9th commandment. And all this stuff right here is just so you and I, because I am not beyond all this foolishness that I'm reading about, to not do these things. We're going to deal with the 9th commandment. And I want you to pay attention to the example that you're about to read. Exodus 20, 16 and 17. Come on.
Thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor.
Stop. I'm sorry, that's a typo, y'all. It's verse 16. Read verse 16 again.
Thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor.
Now, let's go to Esther 2. Because again, the stories that I'm choosing to deal with, or not that I'm choosing, that that the Lord gave me to deal with, is kind of off the beaten path. There's always a lot of sins that take place in these stories. It's like 2 or 3 things that go on. But I'm being specific. We're going to deal with the story of Esther. Okay? So we're in Esther 2. Now I'm going to give you a little backstory real quick so you guys won't know you guys will know what's going on. This takes place in 483 BC. This is 103 years after Israel went into the first captivity with Nebuchadnezzar. This is 54 years after the first group returned to start rebuilding the temple. Okay? And this is 25 years before Ezra led the second group back to finish the walls and everything. Now, this is taking place with Ahasuerus, which is Xerxes the Great. Now, I know you guys heard of this dude named Anaxerxes. Anaxerxes is the dude that was in 300. Right. This is his pops, okay? What happened was this. Initially, he had a wife named Vashti. Vashti was beautiful. Okay, now, Xerxes was going to go on a new campaign. And typically, when Persian kings were going on a campaign, they would display their wealth and their power, just so everyone would have confidence that this campaign was going to go well. So he's throwing this party that's lasted about 2 weeks. And about the second week into the party, he wants Vashti, his wife, to come out and put her on display so everyone can see how beautiful she is. Vashti wasn't with the business. She's like, dude, I'm not an object. But she disobeyed the king, so she got put off. Then at that point, he said, okay, I need to have a Miss Persia contest so I can find me a new wife. So he threw the Miss Persia contest, and he found Esther. Now, Esther is Mordecai's niece. Mordecai told Esther, look, don't let him know that you are a Jew. In other words, just pass. I don't know if y'all saw the story, Imitation of Life, but she up in the king's bed just passing, you dig? So now, let's go to Esther 2 and start reading, now that you guys know the backstory. Esther 2, and we're going to read 21 through 23. We're going to start this off with Mordecai, and this is very important while we're starting with Mordecai. Come on, bro.
In those days, while Mordecai sat in the king's gate, 2 of the king's chamberlains, Bigthan and Teresh, of those which kept the door, were wroth, and sought to lay hand on the king as Ahasuerus.
So the king's doormen, his doormen, they want to kill the king, which is foul. Verse 22. Come on.
And the thing was known to Mordecai, who told it unto Esther the queen, and Esther certified the king thereof in Mordecai's name.
In other words, Esther told Ahasuerus what's going on, and she told him where she got the information from. She got the information from Mordecai. So the king knew of Mordecai. Please don't get that twisted. Verse 23.
And when inquisition was made of the matter, it was found out. Therefore, they were both hanged on a tree, and it was written in the book of the Chronicles before the king. Not the Chronicles in this book, but the Chronicles of the Kings and the Medes and Persians, which you can find up in there. There's another lost book for you lost book junkies. No, I'm just joking. All right, Esther 3, go into chapter 3, and we're going to read 1 and 2. Now, we're going to bring this other dude into the scheme of things. His name is Haman, and Haman basically was a player hater. That's what they say nowadays, player hater. So now, Esther chapter 3, verse 1. Come on. After these things did Ahasuerus promote Haman, the son of Hammedatha. You got it, bro. Don't trip. The Agagite. That's right. And advanced him and set his seat above all the princes that were with him. Stop. So if y'all know about Daniel, Daniel had a seat of high position. My man Haman has the same seat, so to speak, that Daniel had in Nebuchadnezzar's kingdom. Go ahead, bro. And all the king's servants that were in the king's gate bowed and reverenced Haman, for the king had so commanded concerning him. But Mordecai bowed not, nor did him reverence. So everybody was supposed to bow to Haman when they saw him, but Mordecai's like, dude, I'm good. I'm not going to bow. And he's the only one who's not bowing when Haman comes through. And of course,
Haman being a player hater, we're going to see what happens. Skip down to verse 5. Go ahead.
And when Haman saw that Mordecai bowed not, nor did him reverence, then was Haman full of wrath.
Come on.
And he thought, scorned to lay hands on Mordecai alone.
Stop. So he's thinking, first off, I'm just going to do Mordecai in. Yeah, that's what I'll do. But guess what happened? Go ahead, bruh.
For they had showed him the people of Mordecai, wherefore Haman sought to destroy all the Jews that were throughout the whole kingdom of Ahasuerus, even the people of Mordecai.
Stop. So here's my question. Okay, you got somebody you got a beef with, right? How is it going to go from one dude to the whole nation of Israel? He wants to kill the whole nation of Israel. That don't make. When I was reading this, I'm like, man, this dude is off the hinges. Let's skip down to verse 8 and see what happens. Go ahead, bruh.
And Haman said unto King Ahasuerus, there's a certain people scattered abroad and dispersed among the people in all the province of thy kingdom.
Come on.
And their laws are diverse from all people.
Stop. Here's where he bears false witness. Here's where he bears false witness against not Mordecai, but the nation of Israel. Go ahead, bruh.
Neither keep they the king's laws. Therefore, it is not for the king's profit to suffer them.
Stop. What he should have said was, yo, it's this dude named Mordecai, man. I know you commanded everybody to bow to me, but Mordecai doesn't bow to me. He doesn't keep your laws. He would not have been telling a lie. But conversely, because he said, there's some people whose laws are diverse from your law, which that part is true, just like in the Garden of Eden, the devil will throw a little bit of truth up in there. But he said, there's people that have diverse laws from you, but it says, neither keep they the king's law, neither they. He bore false witness. He transgressed the God's law. Do not bear false witness. Skip down to, I'm sorry, go ahead, bro.
If it please the king, let it be written that they may be destroyed, and I will pay 10,000 talents of silver to the hands of those that have the charge of the business to bring it unto the king's treasurers.
So he's going to pay 75,000. He put a 75,000 pound bounty on the nation of Israel's head. Skip down to verse 13. This is what King Ahasuerus did. Come on.
And the letters were sent by post into all the kings of provinces to destroy, to kill, and to cause to perish all Jews.
Come on.
Both young and old, little children and women, in one day.
Stop. Are y'all reading this? Hold up. Let me read this. And all the letters were sent by post into the king's provinces to destroy, to kill, to cause to perish all Jews, both young and old, little children and women, based on Mordecai, because this man's hating on Mordecai. Go ahead, bruh.
In one day, even upon the 13th day of the 12th month, which is the month of Adar, and to take the spoil of them for a prey.
So let's go directly into chapter 4 and start reading 1 through 3. Because word spread quick once all these postings got up. Everybody knew what time it was, and they had a whole year to literally prepare to get killed. That's a cold thing, man. That's like somebody coming to your house and saying, in 1 year, I'm going to be back here and I'm going to do you in. So let's see what Mordecai did. Go ahead, bruh.
When Mordecai perceived all that was done, Mordecai rent his clothes and put on sackcloth with ashes and went out into the midst of the city and cried with a loud and a bitter cry.
I don't blame him. I'd have did the same thing. Go ahead.
And came even before the king's gate, for none might enter into the king's gate clothed with sackcloth.
He even blocked people from coming in to see the king. It was so disturbing. Verse 3.
And in every province, whithersoever the king's commandment and his decree came, there was a great mourning among the Jews, and fasting and weeping and wailing, and many lay in sackcloth and ashes.
Eli should have did that. He might have got some mercy. Skip down to verse 12. Come on.
And they told Mordecai Esther's word. Then Mordecai commanded to answer Esther, think not with thyself that thou shalt escape in the king's house more than all the Jews.
Let me translate that. Oh, you sitting up in the king's castle and you think that you're not gonna be killed? Remember, you're a Jew. I know you passing, Pinky, but guess what? He's gonna get you too. So she thought, okay, I better do something. Verse 14.
For if thou altogether holdest thy peace at this time, then shall there enlargement, deliverance arise to Jews from another place. But thou and thy father's house shall be destroyed, and with knowing whither thou art come to the kingdom of for such a time at this.
Translation. So if you don't do anything, how do you know that you weren't brought to this kingdom to face certain death at this decree? Because, you know, God will do something like that to you. You saw what he did to Phineas and Hophni. He got them on that battlefield. Let's go into chapter 5 of Esther. We're going to start reading at verse 1. Go ahead.
Now it came to pass on the third day that Esther put on her royal apparel and stood in the inner court of the king's house over against the king's house. And the king sat upon his royal throne in the royal house over against the gate of the house.
Come on.
And it was so, when the king saw Esther the queen standing in the court, that she obtained favor in his sight. And the king held out to Esther in the golden scepter that was in his hand. So Esther drew near and touched the top of the scepter.
Stop. Let me show you let me explain that to you. What happens is this. When the king is holding court, he's dealing with specific business of that day. It has an agenda. So everybody just can't willy-nilly themselves up in the king's court. What happens is, if you try to go to the king's court while he's holding court and you don't obtain favor, in other words, he holds out his gold scepter, come on up, tell me what's happening. If he doesn't do that to you, you die. That's why she did that, put on her fancy clothes and her smell good. All right, go ahead, bruh.
Then said the king unto her, What wilt thou, Queen Esther, and what is thy request? It shall be even given thee to the half of the kingdom.
He's like, I'll give you half my kingdom, baby. I love you so much. She had that Chantilly lace, didn't she? Go ahead, bruh.
And Esther answered, If it seem good unto the king, let the king and Haman come this day unto the banquet that I have prepared for him.
She was smart. Come on.
Then the king said, Cause Haman to make haste, that he may do as Esther has said. So the king and Haman came to the banquet that Esther had prepared. And the king said unto Esther at the banquet of wine.
Stop. A banquet of wine. Apparently, Esther was a little smart and clever in how she handled the business. She didn't spring it on him. She said, look, come to this banquet real quick. So they get to the banquet. They got all this nice little bubbly around. So they drinking. They feeling a little good. They might be two-stepping a little bit. And go ahead, bruh.
What is thy petition? And it shall be granted thee. And what is thy request? Even to half of the kingdom it shall be performed.
She got him feeling real loose like a long-necked goose right now, don't she? Verse 7, come on.
Then answered Esther and said, My petition and my request is.
Stop. Now watch this. I bet y'all think she's going to drop it on him like, yo, and Haman and everything, and they're going to kill us, and I'm a Jew too. Now watch what she does. She's smart. She has discretion. She's a wise woman. Go ahead, bruh.
If I have found favor in thy sight of the king, and if it please the king to grant my petition and to perform my request, let the king of Haman come.
Wait, the king and who?
And Haman.
There you go.
Come to the banquet that I shall prepare for them, and I will do tomorrow as thy king said.
So she's like, okay, look, after she got him feeling real loose, okay, come on to this banquet tomorrow, and then I'm going to tell you exactly what I'm looking for. So let's see how my man Haman felt about it. Let's skip down to verse 12. Oh, okay, I'm sorry, go ahead and finish, bro.
Then went Haman forth that day joyful and with glad heart. But when Haman saw Mordecai in the king's gate, that he stood not up, nor moved for him, he was full of indignation against Mordecai.
Stop. So he's coming out that thing, heart's feeling real merry, because wine does make you feel rather good. He sees Haman, he's like, this clown. And he's going to the house. Verse 12.
Haman said, moreover, yea, Esther the queen did let no man come in the king unto the banquet that she had prepared by myself.
Stop.
But myself.
Stop. What happened was this. He came to his house and he's talking to his wife right now. I want y'all to understand who he's talking to. Start that again, verse 12.
Haman said, moreover, yea, Esther the queen did let no man come in with the king unto the banquet that she had prepared but myself. And tomorrow am I invited unto her also with the king. Yet all that availeth me nothing, so long as I see Mordecai the Jew sitting at the king's gate.
Stop. So he's telling his wife what's happening. He got a promotion. He's talking all the good things. And he says, man, all of this means nothing as long as I still see Mordecai. I don't know why my man is fixated on Mordecai. If it was me and I had the position and all that stuff, I wouldn't be studying Mordecai at all. But anyway, go ahead and read, bruh.
Then said Zeresh his wife and all his friends unto him.
Stop. Hey, y'all remember Job, right? You remember who the devil was trying to use against Job, right? His wife and who else? His friends. Go ahead and read.
Let a gallows be made of 50 cubits high, and tomorrow speak thou unto the king that Mordecai may be hanged thereon. Then go thou in merely with the king unto the banquet, and the thing that pleased Haman, and he caused the gallows to be made.
So let's recap real quick. So his wife and his friends convinced him to build a 75-foot tall gallows, because the cubit is 1.5 feet tall. So he's building a 75-foot tall gallows to hang my man Mordecai on because he can't be happy that Mordecai don't bow to him. Man, you crazy. All right, let's go into Esther chapter 7. We're going to start reading in verse 1, and then we're going to skip down to verse 4. So they're at the banquet. It's the next day. They're at the banquet, and let's see how it goes down. Esther 7, verse 1. Go ahead, bro.
So the king and Haman came to the banquet with Esther the queen.
Now, let's skip down to verse 4. Come on.
For we are sold. Actually,
Hold up, stop. Back up to 2 and keep reading, man. Come on, read from 3-2. Go ahead.
And the king said again unto Esther on the second day at the banquet of wine,
Come on.
What is the petition, Queen Esther? And it shall be granted thee. And what is thy request? And it shall be performed even to half of the kingdom.
Come on.
For we are sold.
Verse 3. Come on.
Okay. Then Esther the queen answered and said, If I have found favor in thy sight, O king, if it please the king, let my life be given me at my petition and my people at my request.
So he just found out his wife is a Jew. Go ahead, bro. Verse 4.
For we are sold, I and my people, to be destroyed, to be slain, and to perish. But if we have been sold for bondmen and bondwomen, I had held my tongue, although the enemy could not countervail the king's damage.
Stop. Israel had been in slavery so long, she says, man, if we was going to be slaves, I wouldn't even be tripping. That's sad, boy. We done been in slavery for a long time, Jack. Go ahead, bro.
Then the king Ahasuerus answered and said unto Esther the queen, Who is he, and where is he that durst presume in his heart to do so? And Esther said, The adversary and enemy is this wicked Haman.
She didn't drop the bomb on him. Haman is a hater. It's official. Let's have a warning. Public service announcement, ladies and gentlemen. Please let's go to Proverbs 19, one verse. You want to finish? Oh, before you go there, finish that, please, brother. I'm sorry.
Then Haman was afraid before the king and the queen.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he was. Proverbs 19, we're going to read one verse. And again, you shouldn't bear false witness to your neighbor because that 75-foot gallows that you had built. Let's see if a false witness will get away. Proverbs 19, one verse, bruh. Go ahead, please.
A false witness shall not be unpunished, and he that speaketh lies shall perish.
Because remember, when you are a false witness, you're speaking lies. Remember, you're not supposed to lie either. Now let's go back to Esther 7. And let's start reading it. Actually, I'm going to throw this in there. I'm going to throw a curveball at y'all. We're going back to Esther 7, and we're going to start reading at verse 7. Come on. Go ahead, bro. You got it.
And the king arising from the banquet of wine in his wrath went into the palace garden. And Haman stood up to make request for his life to Esther the queen.
Go ahead, bro.
For he saw that there was evil determined against him by the king.
Come on.
Then the king returned out of the palace garden into the place of the banquet of wine, and Haman was fallen upon the bed whereon Esther was.
Stop. So what happened was this. The king got so hot, he smashed out to go to make arrangements to deal with my man Haman. When the king comes back, he sees Haman pleading his case Because I guess apparently they had beds where you just kind of kick back in the garden and do your little, drinking and eating. So Haman is laying on the bed begging the queen. So, Ahasuerus comes in and see him laying on the same bed with his woman. Oh, man, he's compounding the problems. Go ahead, bruh.
Then said the king, will he force the queen also before me in the house?
You trying to rape my woman in my palace? Go ahead, bruh.
As the word went out of the king's mouth, they covered Haman's face.
He ain't even finished the sentence and he had a problem. Go ahead, bruh.
And Haborna,
Yeah, there you go.
one of the chamberlains, said before the king, behold also the gallows 50 cubits high, which Haman had made for Mordecai, who has spoken good for the king, standeth in the house of Haman.
Come on.
Then the king said, hang him thereon. So they hanged him. So they hanged Haman on the gallows that he had prepared for Mordecai. Then was the king's wrath pacified.
Do not bear false witness against your neighbor. Do not lie. And certainly, if you got a problem with the king, don't have yourself begging on the bed with the queen, because you just might get killed. Now, let me show you how wise Esther is again. She's a smart woman. She does not play. She's very prudent. Let's go to Esther 9, and let's see who else got put on them gallows real quick. Esther chapter 9, 2 verses 13 and 14. Come on, bruh.
Then said Esther, if it please the king, let it be granted to the Jews which are in Shushan to do tomorrow also according unto this day's decree, and let Haman's 10 sons be hanged upon the gallows. And the king commanded it so to be done. And the decree was given at Shushan, and then hanged Haman's 10 sons.
And they hanged Haman's 10 sons. We got collateral damage again, ladies and gentlemen. 10 people, his sons, because of what he tried to pull. Now, let's go to the 10th commandment. The 10th commandment. This is very sober. If you guys are playing with the commandments, I never understand why the false prophets, well, I understand why, because they don't want you to wake up, but I don't know why the false prophets are telling you not to do God's statutes and judgments when we are clearly reading in this Bible, the same book that they have, the same book that's in the Sunday churches, that people that are transgressing God's laws are getting killed left and right. And there's collateral damage that includes members of their family. When you transgress God's laws, it spills out to your family. Y'all don't hear me. Exodus 20, one verse 17. Come on, bruh.
Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's house. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife, nor his manservant, nor his maidservant, nor his ox, nor his ass, nor anything that is thy neighbor's.
So we're clear on this, right? Anything your neighbor got, don't look at it and don't want to get it. Like this old gangster I used to know, he said, don't worry about mine, get yours. Let's go to Micah real quick. Go on, get yours. Your neighbor has his because the Lord gave it to him. Be content in all things, like Paul says. Let's go to Micah chapter 2, 2 verses. Pay attention. You're going to pay attention to what this is saying. Now, mind you, this is a contemporary of this king we're about to read. Apparently, he wasn't listening to what this king was, this prophet was talking about. Micah 2, 1 and 2. Go ahead, bruh.
Woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it because it is in the power of their hand.
Come on.
And they covet fields.
Stop. They covet fields. Thou shalt not covet anything your neighbor has. Go ahead, bruh. Read.
And they covet fields and take them by violence, and houses, and they take them away. So they oppress a man in his house, even a man in his heritage.
Now it says they covet fields, they take them by violence, and houses too, and they take them away, and they oppress them, even a man and his heritage. Heritage means inheritance. Now, let's see an example of this. I picked a oldie but goodie on this one, so y'all gonna follow me real well on this one. Let's go to 1 Kings. 1 Kings chapter 21. And this is a real simple lesson. This is nothing that is too obtuse for you guys to, should I say, too abstract for you guys to even understand. It's plain and simple. 1 Kings. I was going to do a super califragilistic tornado lesson, but the Lord just said, finish this. Keep it simple. So maybe I'll do the super califragilistic next time. 1 Kings 21. And let's go 1 through 3. And I'm pretty sure y'all know about Ahab and Naboth's vineyard. Pretty sure y'all know about this. So the lesson, the commandment that we're dealing with is thou shalt not covet. Remember, they covet fields and they take them by violence, even a man's inheritance. 1 Kings 21, 1 through 3. Come on, bro.
And it came to pass after these things that Naboth the Jezreelite had a vineyard which was in Jezreel, hard by the palace of Ahab king of Samaria. And Ahab spake unto Naboth, saying, Give me thy vineyard, that I may have it for a garden of herbs, because it is near unto my house, and I will give thee for it a better vineyard than it. Or if it seem good to thee, I will give thee the worth of it in money.
Stop. So what's going on is this. My man Naboth got this vineyard that's right by the palace, and the king is looking out, Ahab, which is a wicked king, by the way, in Judah. And he's looking out and he's going, yeah, you know what? That would be a better place for my vegetables. He just wanted to take this man's vineyard and put vegetables in it. Vegetables. My man's going to lose his life over some vegetables. Come on, y'all. It's crazy. All right, bro, go ahead, man.
And Naboth said to Ahab, The Lord forbid it me.
Stop. Who?
The Lord.
God forbids this transaction to take place. Go ahead and read, bro.
The Lord forbid me, that I should give the inheritance of my fathers unto thee.
So let's see that law. Let's go to Numbers real quick, because this was a law. The children of Israel were supposed to keep whatever inheritance they had in their tribe. It was not supposed to be passed to different tribes. So this man was absolutely 100% right that the Lord forbids this transaction to take place. But of course, you know, a wicked man's a wicked man, ain't he? Numbers 36, verse 9. And again, we're dealing with not coveting. If you ain't got it, guess what? Go get your education, go get you a job, go get you a business, go get it. Don't be hating on somebody. Numbers 36, verse 9. Read.
Neither shall the inheritance remove from one tribe to another tribe, but every one of the tribes of the children of Israel shall keep himself to his own inheritance.
My man said, the Lord forbidded me that I should give thee the inheritance of my fathers unto thee. He was 100% right. This was a law. This was in God's laws. You know, the Torah, the first 5 books of Moses. You know, the stuff that the preachers should be teaching, but they don't. Let's go back to 1 Kings. 1 Kings 21. So what happened was this. After Naboth got the bad news that he couldn't get this vineyard, he came home and laid on his bed. Remember, they practiced devices on their bed. Right. So he came, he laid on his bed. Now, he had a wicked wife named Jezebel. Jezebel was a priestess. She had 450 false prophets, and they all worshiped Baal. She actually led Ahab into worshiping Baal also. But here's the crux. When he came in and told her, when she came in and saw him on the bed crying like a little woman, no offense, my ladies, but a man ain't supposed to be on the bed pouting. But anyway, he's pouting. She comes and she says something to him. 1 Kings 21, verse 7. Go ahead, bro.
And Jezebel, his wife, said unto him, Dost thou now govern the kingdom of Israel?
Stop. She like, dude, you're the king. You're the king. Don't worry about what he's talking about. You can do whatever you want to do. It is not so. Go ahead, bro.
Arise and eat bread, and let thine heart be merry. I will give thee thy vineyard of Naboth the Jezreelite.
So in his mind, he should have said, how you going to give me the vineyard of Naboth? What you going to do? But did he do that? Nah, he didn't do that. Verse 8, brother, go ahead.
So she wrote letters in Ahab's name, and sealed them with his seal, and sent the letters unto the elders and to the nobles that were in the city dwelling with Naboth.
So she's getting some accomplices to what she's about to do. Go ahead, bruh.
And she wrote in the letter, saying, Proclaim a fast, and set Naboth on high among the people.
Stop. This is how cold she is. She's like, yo, we're going to honor Naboth. So Naboth is thinking, man, I don't know what all this is about, but this is cool. Hey, we all love Naboth. We having a We Love Naboth Day in your honor, my brother. Go ahead, bro. Verse 10.
And set 2 men, sons of Belial, before him to bear witness against him, saying, Thou didst blaspheme, God and the king, and then carry him out and stone him, that he may die.
Read verse 12. Come on, man. It's in there. I'm throwing it in there. I'm throwing y'all a curveball. Come on.
They proclaimed a fast and set Naboth on high among the people. And there came in 2 men, children of Belial, and sat before him. And the men of Belial witnessed against him, even against Naboth, in the presence of the people, saying, Naboth did blaspheme God and the king. Then they carried him forth out of the city and stoned him with stones, that he died.
All over some vegetables, man. Y'all ain't hearing me. This dude got killed because somebody wanted his land so he can plant vegetables. I mean, we heard about brothers, herbs are vegetables. We heard about brothers dying for tennis shoes. I mean, that's even worse, but I mean, what's the difference? It's all bad. I'm throwing y'all another curveball. Verse 14, come on.
Then they sent to Jezebel, saying, Naboth is stoned and is dead. And it came to pass, when Jezebel heard that Naboth was stoned and was dead, that Jezebel said to Ahab, Arise, take possession of the vineyard of Naboth the Jezreelite, which he refused to give thee for money. For Naboth is not alive, but dead.
I'm throwing y'all another curveball. Verse 16, come on.
And it came to pass, when Ahab heard that Naboth was dead, that Ahab rose up to go down to the vineyard of Naboth the Jezreelite, to take the possession of it.
So here's the funny part. Hey, man, go get that vineyard. Naboth is dead. It's kind of weird that didn't you have a conversation with Naboth over a little period of time, a couple of, maybe a couple of days or so ago or a month ago? In his mind, he should have been like, this is foul. This is bogus. But of course, he's an evil king and, it's all bad. So he's covered in the field. He's going down to take possession of it. Now I have a public service announcement for you. Let's go on to Luke. This is another warning. Remember, I'm going to hit you with a public service announcement, then we're going to get back to it and see the end. Luke chapter 12, verse 15. And this is a warning to not only people that should not covet, but people that you are around that covet constantly. Yeah, don't be with covetous people. Okay? Because it says, bad behavior corrupts good morals. Bad behavior corrupts good morals. You hanging around people that covet all the time, guess what? In your mind, that little seed starts sprouting. Man, shoot, man, I saw Nene. I like her wedding. She had a $68,000 dress on. Luke 12, verse 15. Come on.
And he said unto them, Take heed and beware of covetousness, for a man's life consisteth not in the abundance of the things which he possesses.
Life ain't about stuff. Remember that. Life is never about stuff. I got a buddy of mine. I just found this out this week. My buddy, he's a cool cat. I used to run the streets with him. This dude has about $6 million in cars. Okay? He lives in Malibu. He has the life. But he found out that his nephew got shot 5 times in the chest this week. And he even said, my homeboy told me it made the news. All that stuff that he has cannot bring his favorite nephew back. My man was crying. He said he called him up and he was heartbroken. That was my favorite nephew. I had to go down to the morgue and identify the body. I never did anything like this. My point is, all that stuff that he has can't bring this brother back to life. Life is not about stuff. Let's go back and see what happened in 1 Kings 21. And this just happened this week. God is my witness. 1 Kings 21. We're going to start at verse 17. And he was 20, he just turned 24. And it was all over a woman. Cold game. Life is not about stuff, man. Period. Don't covet. Don't worry about it. It gets old. They make new stuff. That stuff gets old. Who cares? Money, it comes and goes. Who cares? Fear God, keep his commandments, and get life. That's what this is about. 1 Kings 21, verse 17. Now, this is all after he went down to take Naboth's field because his wife killed him for a field to put some vegetables in it. Verse 17. Come on, bruh.
And the word of the Lord came to Elijah the Tishbite, saying,
So I'm going to throw y'all a curveball. Verse 18. Come on.
Arise, go down to meet Ahab, king of Israel, which is in Samaria. Behold, he is in the vineyard of Naboth, whither he is going down to possess it.
Now, pay attention. The Lord sent him down there. He sent Elijah to talk to him in Naboth's field. So you know this was bogus what he did. All right, man. Another curve. Verse 19. Come on.
And thou shalt speak unto him, saying, Thus saith the Lord, Hast thou killed and also taken possession? And thou shalt speak unto him, saying, Thus saith the Lord, In the place where dogs lick the blood of Naboth, shall dogs lick thy blood, even thine.
See, the Lord has a sense of humor in like a weird way. It's like in the place where the dogs lick Naboth's blood, those same dogs are gonna lick your blood. I'm gonna bring you to the end that you brought Naboth to. Fair justice. The Lord is fair. Now let's skip down to 21. Go ahead, bruh.
Behold, I will bring evil upon thee, and will take away thy posterity.
Stop. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna back up to verse 20, throw y'all a curveball so you will see the conversation from the beginning. Verse 20. Go ahead.
And Ahab said to Elijah, Hast thou found me, O mine enemy?
Come on.
And he answered, I have found thee.
Come on.
Because thou hast sold thyself to work evil in the sight of the Lord.
That's right. Come on.
Behold, I will bring evil upon thee, and will take away thy posterity, and will cut off from Ahab him that pisseth against the wall.
That means every male descendant that you have will die, and your line will not continue. You will be wiped off of the face of the earth. Go ahead.
And him that is shut up and left in Israel, and will make thine house like the house of Jeroboam the son of Nebat, and like the house of Baasha
Go ahead.
the son of Ahijah.
Come on.
For the provocation wherewith thou hast provoked me to anger made Israel to sin.
In other words, he's talking about Jeroboam. Remember, we dealt with Jeroboam and the two calves in the previous lesson. And he built those. His sin was idolatry. Baas's sin was idolatry also. And he did the same thing to them. He killed all of his male descendants. Both of their houses did not continue on. And these was wicked kings. Go ahead, bruh.
And of Jezebel also spake the Lord, saying,
The woman who actually organized all this foolishness. Go ahead.
The dogs shall eat Jezebel by the wall of Jezreel.
They're not going to even get to lick her blood. They're going to actually have a full meal because she's that detestable. Go ahead, bruh.
Him that dieth of Ahab in the city, the dogs shall eat.
Come on.
And him that dieth in the field shall the fowls of the air eat.
Now that's some cold stuff. Let's go directly into chapter 22. And I'm not going to show you guys all the stuff that happened in the battle and he went out and the king of Israel and Jehoshaphat and all that stuff. Y'all can read that on your own. I'm going to just show you what came to pass at the word of the mouth of the Lord. 29. Go ahead, bruh.
So the king of Israel and Jehoshaphat, the king of Judah, went up to Ramoth Gilead. And the king of Israel said unto Jehoshaphat, I will
Go ahead.
disguise myself and enter into the battle, but put thou on robes. And the king of Israel disguised himself and went into battle.
Skip down to verse 34. I guess he thought he was so smart he could hide from God, but apparently God sees everything, knows all things, and guess what? Let's see if that arrow helped him. He hid from that arrow. Verse 34, come on.
And a certain man drew a bow at a venture and smote the king of Israel.
Which is Ahab, by the way. Go ahead.
And smote the king of Israel between the joints of the harness. Wherefore he said unto the driver of the chariot, Turn thine hand and carry me out of the host, for I am wounded.
Come on.
And the battle increased that day, and the king was stayed up in his chariots against the Syrians, and died at even. And the blood ran out of the wound into the midst of the chariot.
Skip down to verse 37. It came to pass that what? Go ahead.
So the king died and was brought to Samaria, and they buried the king in Samaria.
Come on.
And one washed the chariot in the pool of Samaria, and the dogs licked up his blood, and they washed his armor according unto the word of the Lord which he spake.
All over some vegetables. Collateral damage, Naboth. Sad thing. Now, why should we keep the commandments? Because there's a lot of people that hate the commandments of God for some strange reason. But we just saw examples where people got killed for not keeping the commandments. It's very clear that these are life. Let's go to Revelation 20. We're going to see why we should keep the commandments. Then I'm going to throw a curveball at y'all, and then we're going to come back. Revelation 20, we're going to go 12. Read verse 12. Revelation 20, verse 12. Come on.
And I saw the dead, small and great, stand before God, and the books were open, and another book was open, which is the book of life. And the dead were judged out of the things which were written in the books, according to their works. And the sea gave...
Stop. The people were judged out of those books, in those books, according to their works. Did it say according to how they felt in their heart? Did it say according to what Paul said?
No, sir, their works.
It said according to what? Read that one more time. According to what?
It says, and I saw the dead, small and great, stand before God, and the books were open.
Come on.
And another book was open.
So we see a set of books, and then we see a different book. The Lamb's Book of Life, by the way. Go ahead, bruh.
which is the book of life.
Come on.
And the dead were judged out of those things which were written in the books, according to their works.
So how in God's name are you going to make it to the kingdom of God and you don't keep any laws? Now let's see the laws that get you in the book of life. Let's go back to Exodus 20. This is the curveball for y'all. And we're going to run them all down 1 through 10. Bear with me, please. Y'all ain't got nothing else to do but, transgress the Sabbath anyway if you leave here. And I ain't the Sabbath police. It's up to you guys to regulate yourself. All I have to do is read this book and tell you what this book says. So we're going to go through all the commandments, and you do these things. These are the works that get you in the Lamb's Book of Life. Exodus 20, start at verse 1, bro, and just roll.
And God spake all these words, saying, I am the Lord thy God, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage.
Come on.
Thou shalt have no other gods before me.
That's one. Come on.
Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image, or any likeness of anything that is in the heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth.
So again, those doves and those fishes on the back of your car, that's an image. Get them off. Get those crosses out of your house. You're not supposed to have no image, period. Nothing. A cross is a Roman death symbol. Go ahead, brother. Verse 5. Come on.
Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them,
Come on.
nor serve them. For I, the Lord thy God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me.
The third and fourth generation. Please understand, this God is I am that I am. That means he is linear. That means he is past, present, and future simultaneously. He does not sleep. Go ahead, bro. Verse 6.
And showing mercy unto thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments.
That do what?
Keep my commandments.
So the only way you get mercy is just believe in your heart that you're a good person?
You gotta keep the commandments.
You got to keep the commandments. Verse 7. Come on.
Thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain.
3. Come on.
For the Lord will not hold him guiltless that taketh his name in vain. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy.
Commandment 4. Come on.
6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work, but the 7th day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God.
Stop.
And
He said the first day of the week.
7th day.
He said you worshiping the sun god on Sunday.
No, sir.
Oh, the 7th day. Keep it holy. Go ahead, bro.
Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. 6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work, but the 7th day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God. In it thou shalt not do any work.
Any work. Come on.
Thou
Thou
nor
nor thy son.
Thou nor thy son, nor thy daughter, thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thy cattle.
Even your animals ain't supposed to do nothing. Y'all think this is done away with? You're sadly mistaken. Go ahead, bro, please.
Nor thy stranger that is within thy gates.
Come on.
For in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth and the sea and all that in them is, and rested the 7th day. Wherefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it.
Well, he blessed the first day of the week and hallowed it.
Sabbath.
He rested on the first day? Oh, okay, my bad. I think I'm seeing stuff, man, Verse 12, come on.
Honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days may be long upon the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee.
Commandment 5. This commandment 6. Come on.
Thou shalt not kill.
Come on.
Thou shalt not commit adultery.
Go ahead.
Thou shalt not steal. Thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor.
And the last one. Go ahead.
Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's house. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife, nor his manservant, nor his maidservant, nor his ox, nor his ass,
Or what?
nor anything that is thy neighbor's.
Anything that is your neighbor's, do not covet it. If you want something, do something better for yourself. Get your education, get you a job, start you a business, and you will have things. Do not plot, do not be angry. Period. End of story. Back to Revelation 20. Revelation 20, we're going to finish this off. We left off at verse 12. We're going to finish it off with verse 13 through verse 15. Come on, bruh.
And the sea gave up the dead, which were in it, and death and hell delivered up the dead which were in them, and they were judged, every man according to their works.
Wait, you telling me everybody's judged according to their works again? I keep reading everybody's judged according to their works. That means you got to do something. And we just read the commandments. Those are the things that you're supposed to do, amongst other things like the feast days and the dietary law. But if you ain't doing that, guess what happens? Verse 14.
And death and hell were cast into the lake of fire.
Come on.
This is the second death.
Come on.
And whosoever was not found written in the book of life was cast into the lake of fire.
And I hope you got some understanding.